This is the muscular Prometheus laying on the rocks. His left arm is chained to a rock and he has the claw of an eagle in his face. When zooming out, we can see that the eagle is taking the liver out of his body. This oil painting, entitled Prometheus Bound, is the result of a collaboration between the Baroque painters Peter Paul Rubens, who was the most popular artist in the world during most of his life, and his colleague Frans Snyders, who specialized in painting animals. Snyders painted the eagle and Rubens did the rest. Prometheus is depicted in the light wearing a white and blue cloth below him that just covers his private parts. There is a strong color contrast between him and the dark colors around him. In particular, the eagle is painted fairly dark and represents the evil force that he has attracted by stealing fire from the Greek gods and giving it to the humans. Prometheus and the eagle lock eyes, and it looks like the eagle makes Prometheus almost fall off the rocks, though he is kept in place by the chains. The claws of the eagle are placed on his face and near his groin to emphasize the pain that Prometheus suffers. We can see the agony on his face, the clenched fists of his left hand and their curled toes, features inspired by the statue of Laocoon and his sons in the Vatican museums. The American artist Thomas Cole painted his version of the same story in 1847. Instead of focusing on Prometheus and the eagle, he puts the story in a larger context. Stories from Greek mythology describe Prometheus as the son of a Titan, an immortal Greek deity with incredible strength. He is punished by the king of the gods Zeus, as he has stolen fire from Zeus and gave it to mankind. You can actually see a reference to that in the bottom left, where a small fire is burning. Zeus had the fire hidden on Mount Olympus so that the people would be dependent forever on the gods. But now that the people received fire, they started to develop themselves and built a civilization. Zeus was outraged by the theft and decided on this eternal punishment for the immortal Prometheus. He chained him to a rock somewhere high up in the Caucasian mountains and made sure that an eagle would come every day to eat his liver, as the Greeks associated the liver with a person's intelligence and soul. And as Prometheus is immortal, his liver would grow back within a day and the eagle would do it all over again the next day. If you wonder why Zeus chose an eagle, it is because it was his personal symbol. Before showing you how other artists captured the story of Prometheus and the eagle, I want to quickly mention that there is also a mythological story about Prometheus who created human life on Earth by molding man out of water and earth, and you can see some examples of that myth here. The work by Rubens and Snyders was neither the first nor the last one on the subject. Here's some pottery from the 6th century decorated with the story of Prometheus and the eagle. A decade before Rubens, Gregorio Martinez painted this version, which looks somewhat similar to Rubens' version. It is likely that Rubens had seen this version when he traveled to Madrid in 1603, although there's also this painting by Titian, which predates both the works of Martinez and Rubens. It's the Punishment of Titus from 1565, and the composition is somewhat similar to the works on Prometheus. Looking at some works inspired by Rubens, here is the painting of Theodor Rombouts, painted a decade after Snyders and Rubens' version. Another 2 decades later, Jacob Jordaens created a fairly similar version of this painting, with the main difference that he included Hermes in this painting to signal that there was hope for Prometheus to be freed in the end. But more about that later. Around the same time, the Italian artist Salvatore Rosa made this dramatic version and José de Ribera made this one. Here is the 19th century interpretation of Prometheus' story by Gustave Moreau. and the subject has also been tackled by several sculptors, like this version from 1762 by Nicolas Sebastien Adam. Prometheus received an eternal punishment from Zeus, yet we can no longer find him on one of the Caucasian mountains. According to the mythological stories, Prometheus suffered this punishment for hundreds of years until Hercules killed the eagle and freed Prometheus, as you can see in this painting from 1864 by Carl Bloch. The painting is large, measuring 243 by 210 centimeters. It was not a commissioned work, and it took Rubens and Snyders 7 years from start to finish. When it was finished in 1618, Rubens really liked this painting because of the strong emotional response it triggered among viewers. That's the reason he decided to keep this painting for himself for a long time after finishing it. Nowadays you can see it in the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Well, I hope you enjoyed this discussion of Prometheus Bound by Peter Paul Rubens and several other artists. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the Amuze Art channel if you have not done so, and leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.